morning and welcome back to Sports Buzz TV. We're back with another sports update. I know it's been very long since I posted any video about any sporting events, anything that's happening right now. I had to take some time off. But I'm happy to be back, and we are going to be talking about a really interesting topic right now. Our favorite club, Manchester United. We know what's happening and the position where they are right now. It's important to see. We know what happened with Ole a few months ago. He's no longer our manager, and we have Ralph Rangnick with us, who's started off pretty well, even though the performances have looked a bit shaky. Nevertheless, it's been good, and I feel Manchester United is going through a transition period. And right now, I have alongside with me my very good friend Jaswant. Thank you for your time with me.
Anytime.
How's life going on?
Let's not talk about that.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's jump right into the topic. Talking about Manchester United and where they stand right now. We're halfway through to the season, 21-22 season. Looking and now we've just jumped into top four. That looks a big concern in terms of Champions League spot. So yeah, looking at the way, we'll just have a quick discussion on what the reality, what the situation is right now in Manchester United. So what do you feel, Jaswant? Looking at the current situation, we moving into the top four and having shaky performances, how do you assess the current situation at Manchester United?
Well, I can't say I expected anything different when Ragni took over because whenever a manager changes, it's not just the man that's changing, it's the entire philosophy on which the team runs.
Okay.
Ole was a very different kind of manager. He was more of a man manager than a proper full-blown manager.
Okay.
He still needed his time. He was still in his early days of management. In a way, if you think about it, the last big job he had in Europe was Cardiff City. So I don't think I expected anything different when Ragni took over. Because for the players, they went from playing in a 4-2-3-1 usually to a 4-2-2-2, a very unconventional formation, which is not used very often throughout Europe.
Okay.
Especially in England, I don't see many. I mean, of course, you could say Tuchel uses it a bit, or maybe Klopp too, on specific occasions in games, but not throughout the entire game. So yeah, transition period. That's the best way we can describe what's happening at Manchester United right now.
Do you think sacking Ole was the right decision? Because see, Ole has really put in a lot of hard work, being a Manchester legend, a Manchester United legend himself. He knows how the club functions. He has the hunger and desire for the club. And there were some fans who were so much on him. They were like, no, we want to get rid of him just because we don't have trophies for the past 4-5 years. It makes sense. It is frustrating, but looking at the way the team progressed under him and the way he laid the foundation and built a team, I definitely feel he was nearing to win some small trophy. Do you think it was the right decision sacking him?
I personally don't think it was the right decision sacking him. But my reason for that is because I believe Ole matured with the team. The team matured over the last 3 years. So did Ole as a manager. I remember his first days with United were very good, but once the honeymoon period ended, we realized how he's still a little shaky as a manager. Still getting his, learning how to be a proper manager, a very good manager. And I think he was on his way to becoming that. But I also understand why the sacking happened. We can, of course, we have to look at it as fans from the, the pitch side, but also in the back room. There was probably a lot of impetus from there for them to cause the sacking because there's only so long you can give a person. I mean, I feel like just because he's a club legend is why he got as long as he did. If it were anyone else, I think they would have got rid of him after the Europa League final last season. But yeah, though I don't like the fact that he was sacked, and I would have preferred to see Ragnick at the club, but probably as someone who's helping Ole become a better manager, I do understand why it happened, even though I don't quite agree with it on every level.
No, looking at the way, we lost to Liverpool. I mean, this is the biggest defeat at home in history.
Yeah, I legitimately forgot that match happened.
And then we lost to Man City the following week. And do you think if Ole had remained, we could have got back from there and still finished in the top four?
I can't speak for something that hasn't happened.
Okay, yeah.
We could, for example, say that he would have gotten the locker room back after Ronaldo came, but again, we just won't know because that never happened.
So yeah, looking at from there where we took off, looking at the current transfer window that's going on right now, the winter window, Manchester United has been inactive. What is your take on that? Do you think we need to work on areas where we are weak because talking about the CDM position right now, we don't have a proper CDM. Do you think Ralph should go and buy before the deadline day or should wait till the summer period to find out where the problems actually lie?
I don't think this is the time we need to change anyone in the team for one simple reason. Before, of course, CDM is a position where a little shakier. We don't have a proper CDM, to be fair. We have two CMs who are trying to do a pivot when they are not, that's not their usual position which they play. For the national teams too, if you look at it. Either McTominay or Fred, they don't actually play proper CDM for the national teams. The thing is, right now the squad is very divided. Before we go ahead and get another player, add another variable to the equation, I think it's Ral's job right now is to get the entire team on the same page. So, for example, if we go out and buy Frankie de Jong in this window, it'll still just be another player who's not acclimatized to the club, surrounded by players who are going through a tough period at the club and who aren't in sync with the culture of the club in total. But however, if Ralph goes and makes the same signing next season, when the summer window opens, then it'll be a totally different thing because I believe by that point the team chemistry is going to sort itself out. The West Ham game was a good example of that. Maybe it's too early to be very optimistic, but still, I do think that was a good example. So, no, I don't think he should make any big signings right now. This is not the time you make those because the first team itself is so divided. Once that team is a little in sort with each other, then he can go make a signing. Then it will not be another variable coming into a set of already dissonant variables. It will be him coming into a team which is properly in set. Then he can take the place which they're supposed to. So that's it.
Do you see any problems because before when the season began, Ole would have had his plan before Ronaldo came in, and Ole would have definitely changed the plans when Ronaldo came in. And do you see that now when Ralph has stepped in, there is another big transition and change to all the formation and all the strategies that the players have to adapt to? Do you see the problem lies there? Do you see that Ralph can get this in the next 4 months or 5 months before the season ends?
I think Ralph can do that. No, I can't say I've followed Ralph's career throughout. Dude's a lot older than I am.
Yeah.
His career is older than we are, to be fair. But looking at all the work he did at RB, Salzburg, he was the reason. he was behind some of their most incredible.
He was at
success.
Schalke also.
He was at Schalke. He's basically known as the godfather of German football. Almost. German football is what it is today. It's one-touch brilliance. It's because of Ralph's influence. The Gegenpress was such a breath of fresh air when it happened. Before that, it was all this 4-4-2 flat, 4-4-2 attack. But then look at the Gegenpress. It's such a high-pressing game, which kind of defined the modern game as we know it today. But yeah, I think he can get this squad. It is a very, very good squad. There's nothing denying that. They're just very divided. And I do really believe that, though, of course, as the manager changed, like I've already said, transition period. Everything's going to change. The formations are going to change. But I also believe that this change, at this point, when all the players are so divided, is welcome. Because they'll grow as the system sets itself into place.
Okay, so talking about in terms of formations, the two formations that Ralph has continuously been using is the 4-2-2-2 and the 4-3-3. If you see, and not having a proper CDM, do you think this is a risky formation to use the 4-3-3 and the 4-2-2? How do you think? Do you think our players suit this formation that he's using?
I think 4-3-3 right now is a little too optimistic with our CDM condition, especially with Pogba being out. But 4-2-2-2 is a formation which is designed to work in such a way that everyone who's in the attack contributes to the midfield and to the defense. So I think 4-2-2, like I said, is a very unconventional formation, especially in England. And it's definitely not something our players have been used to over the last few years. Not anyone in this squad currently. But again, when a formation like that is implemented, you could tell in the original at the beginning games that the players were confused on where they should be on the pitch.
Yeah, absolutely.
You could see Bruno almost asking Ronaldo, where am I supposed to be on this pitch? But again, that's all a part of the process. They're gonna be confused, but it's gonna help them in the long run. Even if 4-2-2 is not what we're gonna use moving forward, it's gonna help the players understand that it's not just their position that they need to work at. Even if we move to a 4-3 later, the attackers can still contribute to the defense or the midfield,
Oh.
which is what is the main idea behind the 4-2-2-2. I feel
Mhm.
even if it's not super effective today, it's just gonna help the club in the future. It's almost like future planning in a way.
That's good. Okay, so looking at this, how United have started playing under Ralph, it's been low. There have been mostly low-scoring games, or like we've been edging past teams, or it's been a draw. What do you think is the mindset in the club right now? The morale and the understanding between the players, is it good? Are they divided? Is there some grudge between each one of them? What do you see exactly?
Well, the main story out of Manchester United these weeks has been that there's a separate Portuguese club and the English squad, that they don't quite talk to each other because Fred, Telles, Ronaldo, and Bruno, they speak Portuguese. Dalo too. Brazil and Portugal, both speak Portuguese. So, and they've seen that's what the media says at least, that the club is now very divided in the locker room. Now I have no reason to believe that. Nor do I have any reason to say that's not true. I just don't know what's facts. I'm not in that locker room. I refuse to believe something like that until I have proper evidence that it is true. Morale, of course, it's going to be a little lower than it was before. We were second last season in the Premier League. Right now, it doesn't look like we'll hit that spot. But that's fine. Again, transition period.
Yeah.
I never expected Ole to finish second last season, to be totally frank. But we did. It was a good season overall. I mean, we had our shortcomings for sure. But now we have better signings too. So maybe morale today is a little low, but the future, I do think it's going to improve a lot. Especially once the media stops. It's almost like the media's focus on Manchester United is making things worse right now.
Okay.
Because the players themselves, there are times where the players themselves don't know what to believe. Even though they are in that locker room. Because of how many different things are being said by the media.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and since they're from different nationalities, sticking to a new manager who's just stepped in, it makes
Yeah, it's very different from Ole. Ole was, like I said, a bad manager. Ralph has no problem calling people out when they're bad on the pitch.
Yeah. Do you think, I've sensed this, that Ole is a bit kind of obviously, do you think he would have he could easily make this team bonding between in the team? And because Ralph is a bit more stricter, how do you...
Well, one thing about Ole is at least his persona on camera is someone who's kinder to his players, who's more considerate of his players.
Yeah.
We have seen him burst out during the Europa League final and against Lingard in the FA Cup, if I believe.
Yeah.
He's Ole learned from Sir Alex. Okay. Ole was under Sir Alex for so long. There are parts of Ole which legitimately remind me of Sir Alex. But then Ole is also someone who's a little more timid, I'd say.
Okay.
And on camera.
Yes.
Ralph is someone who's more straight to the point. Maybe it's the Germanness of him. But Ralph is definitely someone who's more straight to the point and who definitely has no problem calling players out if they don't perform on the pitch.
Correct.
Ole might have done that too, but he always used to do that in private, never in public.
Yeah.
But Ralph has no problem with that. And an extreme example of something like that in the past would be Mourinho and Shaw.
Yeah.
But Ralph doesn't go that far. Ralph doesn't overdo it. Ralph does it to the point where the player feels accountable and he feels like he has to prove himself. And it is definitely happened. Shaw and Wan-Bissaka have fallen off in the last few weeks a bit. But then look at Telles and Dalo. They have improved so much. Martial was called out in the media. I mean, it looks like he's on his way to Sevilla for a loan spell, but he played such a pivotal part in assisting that goal against West Ham.
Yes.
I don't think I can complain.
So do you think Telles and Dalo are getting chances just because Shaw and Bissaka out? Had they been fit or available, you think these would have got the chances?
The thing about both those left backs is they're very different from their counterparts. Telles is a very different player from Luke Shaw. Wan-Bissaka is extremely good at defending, but Dalo's attacking brings a totally new dimension to him. It's like they play the same position, but they play the position in two very different ways.
And does that affect the centre backs?
Well, I guess it does to an extent, because Shaw, if you think about it, always used to go forward. Like he basically played left wing half the time, to be fair. And he would also do a good amount of defensive work. Not saying he doesn't, but him running back was always secondary to him going forward. So I guess you could say Varane had a bit more. Varane when he played had a bit more to do.
Yeah.
The left centre back had a bit more work to do. But with Telles, he goes forward for sure.
Yeah.
But he's also so quick and so he cares about cutting back. He cares about coming back into his own half and playing defense. Wan Bissaka, extremely incredible defender. I don't think anyone can do slide tackle like Wan Bissaka.
Okay.
But Dalot is just the more complete right back. And I really think that Wan Bissaka should be converted into a centre back.
Okay.
He might not have the, well, I won't say he doesn't have the strength, but he might not have the physique to be a proper full-blown centre back. But I see him doing more for the team as a proper centre back than as a right back.
Okay.
His defense is incredible. His attack needs work. We have two options: either give him the time to improve in attack, but he has competition now. Dalot's proven himself.
Yes.
At Milan,
Yeah.
was such a pivotal part in the Reds actually regaining a bit of stability in Syria.
Yes, yeah.
Zlatan and Dalot, definitely. And I really think it's time we gave Dalot his chance to be the starting right back. The Hag is brilliant, no doubting that.
Yeah.
He has fallen off.
Okay.
And maybe it is time for him to convert from right back to a centre back. Because looking at his defensive work, I don't think anyone else can match that.
Yeah, definitely. And any concerns about Van de Beek getting chance, getting game time?
Well, the most popular meme when Ole was around was that he doesn't play Van de Beek.
Alright.
But Ralph's come over, still doesn't play Van de Beek. The problem with Van de Beek, I feel, is he's brilliant as a single player. He's extremely good. The way he passes the ball, the way he takes the ball, the way he dribbles with the ball, all of that, brilliant. But I just don't see how he fits into the system we have in place today.
But exactly, but if he's not going to be played, how will we know whether he suits or not? Like, he deserves game time, right? He's only played for a few minutes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the other day I saw that he had 50 appearances for Manchester United. I was like, I don't think the cumulative time was about 50 minutes. But of course, he deserves to play. I'm not saying he doesn't. Every player deserves to play.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why the club is where it is at today. We've been playing one youth player at least developed in our youth system.
You mean Anthony Langa?
I mean, of course, look at Anthony. He's my favorite Anthony in the team now, no? Martial.
Yeah.
Him playing on the left wing gives us stability. And
Yes,
he's
yes.
young. He's one of our youth academy products. Rashford, Elanga,
Greenwood.
Mason.
Yeah.
The
Wonderful.
thing about this club is it has such a good youth system. Yeah, Van de Beek deserves more game time, for sure. But from the few moments he's had as a flash sub, he's been brilliant. But the games he played the full 90 or he started, I didn't see the same impact. I'm not gonna say
Will that increase more if he plays regularly?
probably would. I'm not gonna say no to that. But would we really want to risk benching Bruno right now for Van de Beek? Or if Pogba's fully fit?
I mean, we keep thinking that, we'll always keep thinking that. And Van de
We
Beek is
will
never
always
gonna-
keep thinking that.
never
Pogba
gonna-
looks like he's on his way out.
Yeah.
Anyways, so once Pogba's gone,
Van de Beek will get a chance.
Van de Beek would get a chance. I mean, he's not a conventional defensive mid again. But with the pivot, if you're playing a diamond, I can see Van de Beek and Bruno coexisting. But then that would put a bit of problem on who would be the attack.
Any concerns about Ahmad? Because we have Greenwood on the right, we have Sancho on the right, and Ahmad moving on a loan. Is it a kind of worry, or you think he should stay?
Well, it is time he goes on alone. This is the time he, not just Ahmad, even Pelestri is on alone.
Yes.
They're young.
Kondo Pelestri, excellent.
Yeah, they're young. This is the time. The thing about football is we can't just expect them to play the English style of football.
Yeah.
Like, if Ahmad is going to stay here for 15 more years, I wouldn't just want him to play the English style of football. I'd want him to know a bit about other countries too. Which is, I think, very important because I know people say football is very similar, but each country almost has its own distinct style of
Yes,
play,
yes,
each
yeah, definitely.
league.
Yeah.
And I think this is the time they gather all the experience they can. Especially with how young they are. How old is Ahmad? He's like 18 now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's 18.
Yeah.
This is the time he goes around, explores, and adds more to his
A
game.
wonderful goal in the Europa League.
A spectacular goal against Milan. But no, wait, against Roma.
Yeah. So, talking about the performance of United right now, they look a bit shaky. What do you think Ralph should do, and what United as a team should do to instill stability and to make the performances better in terms of results?
Firstly, we are not a spring. We cannot expect instant stability.
Yeah.
Uh, Ralph's system is very different from what you write. It is conventionally used.
Yes.
Even under Sir Alex or under Mourinho. Or, let's not go to all those names, traumatic names. But maybe it is too innate to expect instant stability at this point. He took over halfway through the season
Yeah.
almost. You can't expect a new philosophy of the game to be established on a set of about 40 players, all of them conceding to it in about a month. Just too early for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we looked very shaky, but then we were solid against West Ham. And West Ham were not a half-back team themselves. I mean, they were in the top 6, top 4 before we took their place.
Yeah.
So it's not us doing anything wrong.
Yes.
Some things just need time.
Yes.
Be it life or be it football. That's just how it works.
Absolutely.
We need to give him that time. Just like we gave Ole.
Yes.
First year, half the fan base was like, Ole out, he's not a proper manager. Yeah, but look at how good we did in the second season. We didn't win anything, but how many finals did we reach?
Yes.
We finished second in the Premier League.
Yes.
Only topped by a literally insane Man City team.
Yes.
I have nothing to complain.
Nothing to regret about, yeah. And talking about Ralph, if he manages to win the Champions League or the FA Cup, which we right now have in hand, the only two cups we have in hand, doesn't look like we're nowhere near Premier League. So
Yeah, that's really right.
obviously the Champions League, even though it is going to be challenging, and the FA Cup, if he wins one of those, should he remain? What do you think? Should he remain? And because there are talks going on that he's an interim manager only for the end of the season, and they're already on the lookout for new managers. Is it going to be too bad on him? It's just like taking him and just putting him for time being and just shoving him out. How does it look?
I think Ralph knew that could be how it ends when he took the job. He's not leaving the club. He's just going to move into an upper role for the next 2 years, at least.
Okay.
Do I think he should be changed if he win either of them? I don't think so. I think one of the main drawbacks of Randick, or what people think are drawbacks, is that he doesn't have a big trophy case to show. That's never been the man's job. It's like saying Bielsa doesn't know football. Bielsa has not won many things, but it's not about what that person did. It's about what that person influenced. Bielsa influenced Tiki-Taka to a great extent, for example. Randy made the gegenpress.
Yeah.
And look at Tuchel. Look at Klopp. They basically adapted it, made it their own, and became incredible with it.
Yes.
Look at Pep Guardiola. He basically, definitely Johan Cruyff, but also a bit of Bielsa in there.
Yeah.
You just tell that. Do I think Randick should change if we win either of them? No. I actually don't want Randick to leave even if we don't win either of them.
Yeah.
I think he should continue as the manager for at least another season. Because the way I see it, even if we were to bring Pochettino, for example, in next season, the players will again have to go through.
It's not going to make it any better.
It's not gonna. Gegenpress expects one thing out of you: discipline on the pitch. Unconventional, but extremely disciplined. That's why the Gegenpress works.
Yeah.
It's because of how much it depends on the players knowing their job and doing it
Yes, actually, I've heard of him giving punishment to his players in Germany.
Exactly.
You ask to spin a wheel and decide which one they want.
Precisely. I don't think he's going to do that at United. Imagine if Roddy gets a punishment.
I sincerely feel our players need that sort of discipline. If they are having such kind of arrogant attitude in them, they definitely need. If you want to aim for trophies, if you want to be a club that's aiming for the stars, you need discipline.
That is the problem of having a squad as young as we did. Who are the players who are going to inspire them to be better? If you think about it, most youngsters in Manchester United get paid 5 figures at least.
Yes. Is it that's spoiling them?
Could be to an
And they've
extent.
taken their places for granted.
Exactly. When you don't have, when you're so young, and when the entire team's young, you almost feel like, my place is set.
Yeah.
Like, imagine, if I were to earn as much as Mason Greenwood in a week, I think I'd be the same thing too.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, football's constantly changing, it's constantly evolving.
Exactly. If you look at right now with how much of enthusiasm Anthony Elanga is playing, he's just stepped in.
Yeah.
It was the same when Marshall stepped in, it was the same when Rashford stepped in, it was the same when Greenwood stepped in, but it's not seen in them anymore.
Exactly.
So-
why would that be? Because they don't have any almost father figures.
Yeah.
When Ronaldo came in, our squad was filled with talent, and our squad was filled with big players, big names. Ronnie never looked at them and went, I mean, if Ronnie made a mistake, they probably reprimanded him a lot in training.
Yeah.
But he never looked at them and went, the players, I mean, I'm also playing with them, so I don't deserve, I don't need to listen to what they have to say. I'm pretty sure that's not what Ronaldo ever did. When Ronaldo first came, if you remember, it was, the common view was that he was just a guy who could do a lot of tricks and that's about it.
You're scoring and scoring and scoring.
Yeah, but Fergie had a big problem with the fact that Ronnie wouldn't pass the ball. The same thing which we have with Greenwood right now. And how did Ronnie improve? He changed it. He slowly adapted his game to be a little more team player. And then we had the Rooney Ronaldo partnership. Who's gonna forget that ever?
Yes.
Not me for sure. There's Green. I think Greenwood's gonna be fine in a season. It's just he's young.
Is he feeling insecure about his proper 9 number strikers spot with the trends of Ronaldo and Cavani then?
The thing is, Ronnie and Cavani are not gonna stay around forever. Cavani's probably going to leave at the end of the season. Ronaldo maybe a few more seasons with him. I mean, it's Ronaldo. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays for 10 more years to be fair. But Greenwood doesn't have the body of a proper 9 yet. Which is because of his age.
Okay.
Not everyone develops at the same rate.
He shouldn't have a body like Lukaku.
Well, I mean, I'm sure he's going to be able to move a lot better than Lukaku.
Yeah.
But it's like, you can't compare Greenwood to Haaland for that
No.
reason. Haaland has totally different genetics.
Yes.
Look at McTominay, for example. In the under 16s, I believe, he was about 5'8". Look at him today, he's 6'3". Just, all happened within like a year and a half, the growth spurt. Greenwood would probably have something like that.
Yeah.
He just needs time for his body to develop into his skills.
Yeah.
A 9 does. People think a 9 doesn't have to have a lot of strength. They are the ones who need more strength than defenders, in my opinion. You need to fight off 2 defenders if you're a proper 9.
Obviously, yeah.
So yeah, Greenwood will develop into a proper 9. When you're playing in under 17s, everyone has the same body as you, has the same body type as you. A little underdeveloped than a full-blown adult body. Which is why he excelled in under 19s, under 70s. Every under team has been in. But now he's playing against people who are 30, 33 sometimes. For example, if he plays against Thiago Silva, I don't expect Greenwood to beat him in strength. He's 21 now? Right?
Yes.
Yes. 21. Yeah, 21. I don't expect Greenwood to beat with strength. He still needs a couple more years for his body to grow into.
Yeah.
And I can definitely tell that he's doing the work to get his body.
Yes.
So, look at
I
Garner.
mean, he's definitely changed a lot. He was.
Yeah, look at that skinny kid who walked into the first team
Yeah.
a few years ago. Look at the boy now.
Yes.
Look at Jamie Garner, for example.
Yes.
Garner was literally, he used to look like a stick back in the day. Now, he's putting muscle on slowly.
Yeah.
And you say CDM problems, I think we have a good option to look at Garner himself.
Yes,
Once he's
correct.
back from his
Definitely.
loan.
Just before we wrap up, there's one thing that I wanted to stress on. With the presence of Ronaldo there, do you think, because this squad is so good, we have a bright talent good enough to win the Premier League, and I believe if this same squad was under Fergie, he would have done something, he would have put in all the yards and the effort to make this team another treble. I definitely feel. So, are we not able to win trophies because the attention is revolving around Ronaldo? Do you feel that? Is it only on Ronaldo that he is supposed to score? And is it because of that Rashford and Greenwood are feeling insecure?
Ronaldo is an icon of the football game. He will be an icon forever. When a name that big walks into a squad, especially a name that was here before, that did this at their age.
Always, yeah.
Ronaldo was about as old as Rashid, and he was doing his thing back in the day.
Yeah.
Now we have a more mature Ronaldo, and of course it's gonna be different. But of course, this Ronaldo is gonna help that team so much. And just the problem with that team is, I feel they don't listen now.
They don't listen.
If they start listening, name 2 better strikers you'd rather have in the team than Cavani and Ronaldo.
Right now, I think Haaland for sure. I would take Haaland.
No, I'm not talking about the young ones, like the old ones from whom the
Lewandowski.
young ones can learn.
I'll take Lewandowski any day.
Yeah, but Lewandowski's not old yet.
Yeah, but I can totally trust him in terms of finishing.
Yeah,
We are
exactly.
struggling with
No,
finishing.
I'm not talking about performance on the pitch.
Okay.
Of course, Ronaldo and Cavani.
I mean, because we create chances, n number of chances, and we still cannot finish. Why?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
There are times when Greenwood doesn't pass to Ronaldo.
Yeah.
A lot, actually. Or even Rashid for that example. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about on the pitch.
Yeah.
Imagine in training.
Yes.
Who can the young players learn from better than the Uruguayan who basically took Europe by storm, and the young Portugal guy who stepped into United at 18 and never looked back.
Yeah.
Who were better?
I mean, it should be a stepping stone for our youngsters to learn a lot from Cavani and Ronaldo.
Exactly.
And they're there at the same time, so it's a wonderful thing. Hopefully, they do learn from them.
Exactly. When Cavani came, I rejoiced not because he'd be brilliant on the pitch, which he absolutely was, but because of how much he'd add to the squad in training.
And even he proved himself even when he didn't have to prove himself.
Yeah, exactly. He had no reason to come
Yeah.
to
And then
England at
people
this point
doubted
in
him.
his career.
And brilliant.
I mean, what was the term? Panic buy?
He's in more than what's been expected of him. Really, really more than we
He
can
did
ask
justice
for.
to that number 7 jersey
Yes,
before
yes.
Ronnie took over.
Yes, definitely.
I think it changed that.
So it was a good time, good session talking to you, Jaswant. Thank you for your time. Really, this is a bit of concern for us. Looking at that, we just stepped into top four with we have Leicester chasing us, we have Arsenal chasing us, we have West Ham chasing us at the back, and we're just 6 points now behind Chelsea and 7 points behind Liverpool. With all of them having different matches in hand, a few of that difference. So we know that that's there, but still, United as a team should focus on what their work is. They should be focus on their work. So looking at that, hopefully the season turns out to be pleasant, good enough of what it should be a bit decent enough in terms of finishing. Hopefully we win one of those 2 trophies.
Hopefully we do.
Just because we've been waiting patiently and we know how fans are, we just cannot wait. So hopefully we just get some silverware that we've been waiting for. Obviously it's going to be feel bad because Ole is not with us. He truly deserves a silverware for what he did. Right, so hopefully that turns out we get a silverware, and that definitely should be dedicated to Ole for the hard work he's put in to build up and shape up this team wonderfully. So thank you for your time with us on this show. For more football information, please stay connected. I'll be getting more updates when the Champions League resumes the round of 16. I'll be getting more updates on that. So for more information on football updates and other updates, please stay tuned. Please stay connected to Sports Buzz TV. Thank you.